Here's a good follow-up question on the Eucharist. And I have an answer, but I want to hear y'all's answer. Are Catholics, technically speaking, cannibals?
Great question.
Yeah, because the knee-jerk reaction is like, oh, no. But then you think about it a little bit. Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts? You were a head shaker.
No, because it's so much deeper than that. Because Christ is so much God. As we know, Christ is true God and true man. We say this at every Sunday Mass. We say this when we pray the Rosary. You know, it's in the Apostles' Creed. And I feel that to say that Catholics are cannibals would literally make Jesus look like just the most ordinary personist person. I know that's not really a thing, but it's like, you know, well, I mean, you understand what I'm trying to get at. You know, to be a cannibal is, you know, you're taking life from somebody. And, you know, you look up John 14:6 because, you know, Polo actually brought his Bible and I didn't. Shame on me. But, you know, you look up John, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Well, it's because Jesus is God. So only God can come down and humble himself. He has the divinity and has the, you know, the presence, as we've talked about before, to literally to take that form. So, you know, you wouldn't be taking life from him because he is the giver of life. Does that make any sense at all?
It does. To push back a little bit, I think we're cannibals.
I
do. I think, in fact, I think it's denying the humanity of Jesus. And I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm super open to the debate, but I feel pretty firmly in the, technically speaking, yes. If I'm going to say Jesus is fully God, but Jesus is also fully man, 100% man, with a human nature in addition to his divine nature, and he told me to eat his flesh, and he tells me that the Eucharist is really his flesh, and if all those things are true, then I'm really eating the flesh of a person who's a total person. He's a person-iest person.
Who's fully divine.
Right. And I'm open to the discussion. I don't this isn't necessarily a hill that I'm going to die on no matter what, but I'm curious.
Yeah, so I think that we have to keep in mind the humanity and the divinity of Christ himself. I think we also have to understand the whole reason this is a scandal is because, like, for the Jews, blood was life, right? So to say that you're going to drink my blood is like you're going to take my life. So you have
it's
that.
It's not kosher, right? They're not allowed.
It's not like it's like the biggest scandal,
right?
But you have to keep in mind the fact that yes, we're receiving Christ's body, blood, soul, and divinity. It is his humanity, but it's also his resurrected, glorified divinity. Like, what's the purpose of the Eucharist? But it's God's gift of his entire person to us. It is not just his humanity. It is his divinity. So I would say yes and no. Like, yes, we are, but no, we're not. Because it's, when you talk about cannibalism, you're literally talking about just, like, yeah.
Of a mundane
I'm sorry. I got distracted because I was thinking about something else. Guys mentioned cannibalism at work one day. It's just
Cannibals eat broken flesh.
Yes.
We consume the body and blood
of the risen
flesh.
The soul and divinity piece is a big part of that.
It makes a huge difference.
Right.
And so
I'm not recommending cannibalism for just in your daily life, for the record. Yeah.
Well, one thing I think is awesome, and it, you know, not to take a dig at the people who left Jesus, but because it is confusing, you know, you're following this guy for years, right? We're used to it. We've heard it for years and years and years. Like, they're like, okay, this guy's telling me to eat his flesh, and actually, I used to know the Greek, but I can't remember it now. But
Trogo.
Like trogo, yeah. So like he changes the Greek word for eat, and it goes from like eat just to consume to like munch and like
and
gnash.
No, I've heard. Yeah.
And so when they challenge him, he like takes it even further. But the thing is like he already knows about the Mass. Like he knows like how we celebrate Mass. He's seen all of us receive the communion, the Eucharist. And so when he's there saying that, he had the Mass in mind already. Right. He already knew about the little host. He already knew that I have to take a special like low gluten host now because some things that the doctor told me to. But
hey,
but so he knew that, and that's what he meant when he said, "Eat my flesh." He didn't say like you're going to eat like actual like yes, we eat the actual flesh, but he said it's going to look like bread. And it's going to taste like bread. And when you drink my blood, it's going to look like wine. It's going to taste like wine. It's going to have the accidents of alcohol in it.
I was about to bring up the word accidents because it's so frustrating trying to explain this to anyone who doesn't understand why we believe this, who thinks, there's a lot of accusations that Catholics are just pagans or that the Eucharist is just a modified worship of the sun god or all this nonsense, right?
Yeah.
And it's really difficult. I've attempted to have those conversations, but once again, I think that's yelling out the third story window.
Yeah, right.
And it's frustrating because if you're not Catholic, if you're hostile to the Catholic Church, we need to sit down pretty regularly for months, to really unpack. And me, who's just a dude, right, I'm not going to have all the answers pretty much ever. That's a great thing. And I'll pitch the website, right? Catholic.com, once again, go to Catholic.com. It's Catholic Answers website. They've got great answers to all these like gotcha questions about the Catholics. You type in the Eucharist, you type in reconciliation, type in whatever, apostolic succession, right? And they're going to give you a huge rundown of everything from historical documents like primary resources to articles written about it. And it's pretty fantastic because that can be a very frustrating thing about our faith is that it's not this simple surface level. There's nothing wrong with it. If you don't have this deep knowledge of the theology, right, that's fine. That can be good sometimes actually to have sort of more of a simple understanding. But it goes so much deeper and there's so much more involved there. And I get frustrated, especially when I'm talking to some dude in a bar about why you ought to be Catholic. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if you're enjoying the content, be sure to like, subscribe, and go back and watch the full-length video. We talk a lot more about this. We get into some other stuff. I think you'll love it. Thanks.